Hi there, listener. You're about to experience TADPOG. Tyler and Dave play old games, and there will be plenty of game talk, but also copious amounts of crude, off-color, offensive, and immature speech. So if you are of a rather sensitive humor constitution, we're just letting you know what you're in for with this show. It has games. It has jokes. You know, just games and jokes. Take the games, take the jokes, and have a good time.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to another TADPOG podcast. It's a show that happens twice a week where two old guys talk about old games. This week, we're still making up our minds, getting everything set up for the next official list we'll do on Original Flavor Wednesday.
We made our minds up.
We're going to pull back.
Yeah, we're
not going to say what
we're not going to say what we're doing.
We're going to say what it is,
Nah.
but we know what it is.
No.
And we're gearing up for it. Mm-hmm. So we're still knocking things off the eventually list. So this week, we're going to be talking about Bushido Blade.
The movie, the 1987 movie, where a samurai sword is stolen.
Oh, is there really 1987? All right.
Yeah, it's according to Wikipedia.
Okay. Well, for Nicole's podcast, she can talk about the 1987 classic Bushido Blade.
We should have done a crossover.
I told you, I'll look up who requested Bushido Blade, but I didn't. I totally forgot. So you know who you are. Yeah. Thanks for your suggestion and your 5-star review.
I thought about doing it, but I was like, that's all right. I trust Tyler. I trust that Tyler will do this. But mainly it was like, I don't want to do it. It's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass
to can't search.
You can't search through iTunes reviews. You have to read all these wonderful things about us.
Mostly.
Yeah.
But before we get into Bushido Blade, I'm your bearded host, Tyler. And Bushido Blade, blades in the title.
Yeah,
swords have a lot to do with it. Mm-hmm. So I was trying to think of what an intro story, what I wanted to talk about. And so I thought I would talk about swords.
Okay.
That's myself and people that I grew up with, people I'm still friends with, we played RPGs, everything like that growing up. We have a fascination with swords.
I think everyone does.
Yeah.
Yeah, at a certain point. And then I think that
your penis is kind of a sword.
Right.
You're obsessed with it.
Most of us grow out of it. I think
no one at this table.
no one at this table, but I think regular adults.
I remember I was in Florida. Jacob of Bullfighting fame. We went to Florida and we were staying with his friend Leva. We've talked about Leva before, and we'd gone to Universal Studios, and we were with her roommate. And her roommate, cool girl. But she was talking about, I remember she got kind of angry. We were waiting in line for the Back to the Future ride or something. And she started getting a little bit angry, and she was talking about guys. I guess she'd been through a rough breakup recently. She was just bitching about just men in general.
Yeah.
And she turns to me and she was like, I don't get why all of you guys are just so, it's not really, I don't even know if it's homoerotic, but what? But every one of you, you're just obsessed with cum. Every one of you, you're obsessed with it because all you talk about is was that a whole lot? Where do you want me to put it? I put it here, I put it there, and you're talking about it's all of you. Maybe you don't want to eat it or anything, but you're just obsessed with it.
maybe you do.
I'm sure there have been there do. I don't know. I remember just I've known you for 3 days. Okay.
This is a really cool line I'm in right now.
I guess I am, because after I get done, I will be like, I wonder how much that was. So maybe, I don't know if there's validity to your statement or not, but okay.
Do you / have you ever asked?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Naturally.
Absolutely.
My classic, this is a classic Dave line. Man, that felt like a lot. Just hoping that the information will be given up. I don't want it to feel like an interrogation. That felt like a lot.
Please respond. Please respond. That felt like a lot.
Did that feel like a lot to you too?
That's probably the most ever, right?
Yeah.
For you? Yeah.
I'm sure.
Surely never before. But swords.
So she's right.
I guess.
That's
I can't. I guess it correlates to people worrying about how big their dick is. So.
Oh, well, see, I gave that up.
Of course you did.
I gave that up because it's like, I think that's the next level now where it's like, oh, well, I mean, I've watched pornography. I know that it's not like that. So maybe there's something else that I can work with. I know. I just come a lot.
We'll work in liquid volume. That's what we're gonna do.
Women love that.
They love being asked that question every time you do it. It's not enough to like that they are accepting of it. You have to quiz them about it.
Yeah. Naturally. Why are we talking about this?
Swords, and then that went to dicks, and then now we're gonna bring it back around to swords.
So how was the Back to the Future ride?
Good. I really like the Back to the Future ride.
Yeah.
I always leave it bruised, though. I've went to Universal 3 or 4 times. That's the only ride I will walk away with bruises. And I don't bruise easily. So I just remember, like...
You jostled around a lot?
Yeah, you jostle around a lot. And, like, I always hit the bar. Like, I'll come up, my legs will hit the bar. So I've got bruises across my legs. And then, like, my neck and my shoulders where it's throwing you around side to side.
Marty McFly is always like, that was a lot, right?
Sit Biff, everybody's obsessed with it. But swords. Swords. I remember the first one of our friends to purchase a sword was Josh Nance of Uniracers fame.
That does not surprise me.
That across from the church I used to go to, they opened a flea market. And it's everything you would expect from a Kentucky flea market.
Well, it's like that episode of South Park where they buy the weapons.
Yes.
I mean, that is what this place looks like.
Exactly. 100% correct.
When I saw that episode, I was like, oh shit, they're at Trader's Mall.
We'll put that in the show notes if you're ever in the area and want to go. It's only open on Saturdays and Sundays.
Next time half of Megalixir is up here visiting, we'll totally go to Trader's Mall.
But they still, like, especially maybe if you're just traveling through Kentucky, you'll be like, why is that huge Confederate flag over there on the side of the interstate?
You'll see it.
That's Trader's Mall. They fly that with like Robert E. Lee Park or something that's just like 2 benches beside their Confederate flag. They have like a statue of him, and they talk about them happy they are to sell guns at this flea market.
It is not embarrassing at all when you have relatives.
No. I remember going there a year after 9/11, and that the sheer amount of inappropriate 9/11 merchandise that they had for sale.
Define inappropriate.
It was meant to be patriotic, so it's not making fun of anything, but like shirts of like planes hitting exploding towers.
Oh my God.
So many on like tie-dyed like red, white, and blue t-shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, so much of that kind of shit. But across from the inappropriate 9/11 t-shirt vendor is the sword vendor. So we go, and of course everything... They have all their booths set up, and everything is just like, it's made of sheet metal, but inside is just like pressboard walls, and it smells like a hamster cage. Every time you walk in, I thought, like, I went in there like 2 days after it was built. I thought, oh, this is like the new like wood smell. Well, no, it's never gone away. It still smells like that. But we went, and Josh saw these swords, and we were like seniors in high school, and Josh was like, oh man, I've got to get one of these swords. Oh man, I've got to get one. And we only had like $23. So he was able to kind of haggle this guy down into selling him a short sword.
For $23?
For like $23.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
This must have been a pretty quality sword.
Oh yeah. And I remember we go back to my house. And of course, I mean, the first thing you have to do when you have a sword is go outside and hit trees with it.
Yes.
So Josh immediately went outside and is doing all his moves against a tree out by my house. He goes home, shows his dad his sword, and his dad is angry.
What?
Angry that he has a sword. And like his dad, we still talk about it. Like his dad, like his lip curls up and he's just like, I don't know why you bought that sword. So that became its name, that sword.
How old are you guys again?
I think we were like seniors in high school, I think.
So pretty
Juniors
much,
or seniors in high school?
pretty much old enough to own a sword, but also old enough to know better.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the next time he came over, we were fighting with it again. And this time when he hit a tree with it, the thing just totally broke into pieces. Like I want to say Josh cut himself because like the handle just disintegrated. And you just have this pitted piece of metal that we hitting trees with.
We call that the ghost of $23
Well, after that, we saved up more money, and we had to go buy more swords.
from the same vendor.
So then, Josh went.
Excuse me, sir. The last sword you sold me blew up in my hand.
So here's more money. Give me a better sword. And the sword I think the sword Josh bought then, he still has, which is his sort of iconic sword, his red katana. So that became, once he got sort of his iconic sword, then everyone in like my group of friends in high school, and even to college, like we still have like our sword. So I don't want to call it the homo meth cabin because that made Sean McElwain upset. So
Right. He actually asked me to remove the show notes link that said homo meth cabin. I mean, to be fair, it did link to his family business.
So this wonderful cabin getaway we go to once a year, which is coming up next weekend, that we usually all bring our swords and we'll have like a group picture or whatever because, we're manly jocks bringing our sword out and take pictures in the woods. But Josh went and he has his katana. I went and bought a sword. Because what I thought, like, we were all talking about like each other's personalities and what we thought each sword would look best for us.
Yeah.
So I bought. It looks like an English rapier with like a big like
Handguard.
flowery handguard, and then it has like a hook on the end for like catching weapons and then things like that. But it's not functional because it's enormous. It's enormous, heavy, and unbalanced.
Yeah.
So I bought that, and that was my sword. I have my senior pictures I made with it.
Show notes?
Pretty fancy. If I can find one to scan in, I'll do it. I don't know. My mom wouldn't let me buy a whole bunch of those, so I only had like 3 or 4.
I'm surprised she let you buy any at all.
Well, I didn't get to many of the sword ones. I didn't get any of the Dragon Ball Z ones. So,
I like to think based on...
or any of my senior pictures I took with my high school girlfriend.
That's probably a good call.
Yeah.
Based on all the information that we've given out about the cabin weekend, I like to think that everyone listening just imagines us standing around being like, talking about swords and how much we come.
We'll play some video games. It's fine. But I remember like that sword, I wanted to personalize it. So one of my friends was an artist, and I had her come over one night. Like my mom made dinner for us. Like it wasn't a girl I was trying to date. She was just a friend. Mom made dinner.
And mom's just nice.
Yeah. And then I remember we sat around eating brownies, and she was painting on the sword. And I had her paint all up and down the blade on this like silver English style rapier. She paints all these Japanese characters up the blade. And I wanted each symbol was a different element going all the way up my sword. So it was awesome.
When she was done, did it glow? Did it start like, did all like all the symbols light up?
When I picked it up,
Yeah.
it was like, oh yeah.
Don't lie. When the first time you picked it up, there's a little bit of you that hoped that was going to happen.
Oh yeah. I still hope that. I remember I lit one of my friends wanted to borrow it for some reason, and I let him borrow it. And then when I asked for it back, he was like, okay, yeah, just come over and get it. And what he did is he went outside, stabbed it in the ground, and it rained before I could get over there. So when I went over there to get it, it's just fucking covered in rust and falling apart. So I stuck it up in my mom's basement, and I have not seen it since.
So now it's for Kenna to find.
Yep.
Kenna will find it and carry on the legacy.
So I've written down all of the swords that we all have.
Did you have a name for it?
I did at one point in time, but I don't remember it.
The elemental sword.
That works. The elemental rapier. Let's see. We bought Ashley Shake of Fist Puncher fame. His main character in Diablo 2 was a necromancer, so we bought him a black sword that had like skeletons and black gems and stuff in it. Sean McElwain bought probably the most impressive one, a replica of the Buster sword.
Yeah, it's like a bludgeon though. It's less of a sword, more of a bludgeon.
Because it is absolutely every bit of like 100+ pounds. Because it's made of it's like someone cut a pattern in a huge thick piece of sheet metal, poked 2 holes in it, and nailed a handle on it.
It's not like somebody did that. Somebody did that.
Because it is, you can, with 2 hands, like you can barely like drag it, like much less like actually wheel it, just twirl it around behind your head. But it's awesome looking.
Cloud's really strong, Tyler.
It's unhumanly strong. David Dicus has the Zangetsu from Bleach, which is also a cool sword. These people, those two swords were not bought at Trader's Mall. They bought those online. So they're nice swords. Oh man, another my friend John has a cane, a wolf head cane that has a sword hidden inside it that he can twist and pop off the wolf head and withdraw the hidden blade.
Did he get that at Trader's Mall?
Yeah, I think he did. I think that's where he bought it for him.
I really hope he did, because that's like classic flea market material.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, or like blades hidden inside something. that just has flea market written all over it.
See this boot? If I stomp on it, it's got a knife in it.
Exactly.
It's my boot knife. Oh, man. But yeah, pretty much for 5 or 6 years, whenever it was somebody's birthday, if they didn't have a sword, everyone throws in $5, $10, $20, and then we'll buy them. We bought them a sword till most of us had swords.
That's like 5 that swords.
Yeah, exactly. So many ridiculous short swords.
What's up, Internet? I'm Dave. I'm your bespectacled host. Man, I'm, I guess, not officially in the sword club. I've got a sword. I bought this sword at a Renaissance festival. Like you do. When you go there, typically pay a lot of money for a sword. It's just something you do.
Like Josh's spear that he bought at the Renaissance Fair.
Yes.
Like he paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars for this unwieldy stick with a piece of jagged metal on the end of it that he left at the last house that he moved out from.
I was about to ask what happened to that.
No, whenever he moved out, hundreds of dollars when he moved out. I don't want to move that. Just left it there.
So it was a conscious decision?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I've still got mine. I actually really like it because it feels balanced. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look really fancy or anything.
As far as I know from watching sword movies and playing video games, feels like quality.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I thought it was funny because when I bought it, the first thing Josh ever said to me was like, "You want to go out and hit trees?" I was like, I guess it's what you do, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you do. I remember moving to Lexington, and we didn't live in a great neighborhood. It wasn't an awful neighborhood, but it also wasn't a great neighborhood. And I remember moving in, and I remember the last thing I moved in the house symbolically was that sword. And I remember
not that sword.
Not right.
Okay.
Right. Not that sword.
But that sword. Okay.
But this sword. That's what I named it. This sword. That was the last thing that I moved into the house. And I remember, for anyone who doesn't know what I look like, I look like a pretty nerdy guy, believe it or not. I'm not very tall. I'm not very strong. I guess that'd be the word to use. Muscular, athletic. I'm not any of these things. I pretty much look like close your eyes. And imagine a guy that you could beat the shit out of. Okay, that's what I look like. All right, now open those eyes.
If you Google what he looks like now, IMDb, the guy who plays Neville Longbottom in Harry Potter, I think you look like current day Neville Longbottom.
All right,
You see
I'll take that as a compliment.
You should.
That's a very attractive man. A very, very attractive man. So I am walking into my apartment. I've got this sword over my shoulder. Neville Longbottom's got the sword over his shoulder. And I remember looking over and like a really scary looking guy, like a strong dude without a shirt on, just walking through the neighborhood, looked at me and was like, "Oh shit, that guy's got a sword."
Unsheathed it, pointed at him.
No, I was just like, all right, I guess that guy knows what's up. So.
Ein comes out, you're looking majestic with the sword on your back and a corgi at your side. Yeah.
Wish I had a giant corgi. That's the next dog I want.
They need to breed them.
Giant one.
Breed them. It'd be like horse size.
No, I'm thinking like Clifford the Big Red Dog. Corgi is what I want. Yeah, horse size would be great. I would love to ride a corgi to work and just like tie it up on the side of the building.
Just a whole line of corgis.
No, only I get it. Tyler. Just me.
Obama gives you a tax credit for buying a riding corgi to help the environment.
Man, you remember when Oprah just gave corgis away at the show?
No, I didn't know she gave corgis away.
Riding corgis.
Everybody gets a riding corgi.
It was pretty much her best show ever. Yeah. So that's it. Swords. A lot of swords in this game.
Yep.
Lots of swords in this game.
All right. Bushido Blade. Dave, do you hear that?
I do. It sounds like galloping.
Yeah, it sounds like a stampede.
Oh my goodness.
Why do you call? Well, I guess they're a pack of corgis.
Yeah,
because it's a pack of dogs, a pack of corgis. I wish it was different for every breed.
Whoa. Tyler.
Uh-huh.
Corgis aren't dogs.
Okay, something different.
Corgis are the king of dogs. they're like Budweiser.
The queen has corgis. Okay, that should tell you everything. Anything you want to know.
The band queen.
The band queen. Freddie Mercury
was a corgi. He was 3 corgis inside of a man costume. That's actually why he's not around. That's why he died early, is because corgis have, unfortunately, a shorter lifespan than humans do. So they just ran their course. And when one of the 3 died, the other 2 just couldn't get up in that man costume and do their thing.
So, well,
they just called it.
I guess we'll leave it to Wayne's World to popularize our music.
I do hear that. I do hear that corgi stampede, which could the only thing that corgi stampede led by Neville Longbottom could do is usher in a little segment that we like to call, Dave reads from Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys. Bushido Blade, or as it's known in Japan, really? Get ready. Bushido Burido.
All right.
So that is a thing. It is a 3D
Kurgiru Stampede
hamburger. Is a 3D fighting game developed by Lightweight and published by Square and Sony for the PlayStation. The PlayStation 1. The game features one-on-one armed combat, period. I want to note that this page was last edited 4 days ago by the Leet Gamer. So this is up to date,
all right,
current. And Leet is spelled correctly, and by correctly, I mean with numbers. Its name, Tyler, refers to the Japanese warrior code of honor, Bushido. Upon its release, the realistic fighting engine in Bushido Blade was seen as innovative. Particularly the game's
okay, all right.
the game's unique body damage system. I'll just refer to that as BDS. A direct sequel, Bushido Blade 2, was Electric Boogaloo, was released on the PlayStation a year later. Another game with a related title and gameplay, Kingo, Master of Bushido, was also developed by Lightweight for the PlayStation 2. So this came out in 97. I think that's like 3 years after the PlayStation came out.
Yeah. I remember this game being a big deal. I heard about this game everywhere. We go to Walmart, we go to the grocery store, and every magazine aisle, all the gaming magazines are just like, Bushido Blade, Bushido Blade, Bushido Blade, Battle Area Toshinden, Bushido Blade, Bushido Blade. Like, that's all anybody was fucking talking about. I remember talking to Shake about it, and he was telling me about this awesome new fighting game, Bushido Blade. And I remember I went and I rented it. And I loved renting games as a kid so much.
Yeah, renting it's wonderful.
But I loved it because it was always like a treat. 'Cause my parents hated driving that 10 minutes on the road. It was just fucking brutal torture when gas was 60 cents a gallon. It was just awful. It was awful for them.
And you were a kid. You didn't have the money to buy a new game every week.
Mm-hmm. So what? I mean, Tyler, we have to pay $4.50 for you to shut the fuck up for an entire 24 hours? No. Go out in the yard and play with sticks and complain and whine. That'd be great. But my days of renting stopped with the PlayStation because I would very rarely, when I could get my parents to rent me a game, if I'd rent a PlayStation game, 9 times out of 10, it was fucked. I don't know what people did. Yeah. All the time. no matter where, I would go to different video stores and get different games, and like most of the time, almost unplayable. Or I would play 30 minutes, freeze, I have to look at the game disc, fucking scratched all to hell. I guess people would like, oh, that was a good game, take out their car keys and just run it all over it. All right, put that back, there you go.
It's for all those years they had to rewind.
Yeah.
They're like, look, motherfucker, I've been kind. I've been kind for a goddamn decade.
Here's my 50 cents that you fucking had to tack on. There you go. I remember one game in particular. I rented it so many times from different outlets like Hollywood Video, Movie Hut, Blockbuster. I went to all the big spots in town renting this game, and I always got fucked up copies of it.
Bushido Blade?
Not Bushido Blade,
Okay.
Another game called Saga Frontier. I loved the game. Didn't make any sense to me whatsoever, but I enjoyed playing it. And I chose to specialize in like time and space magic, and there were these sets of quests I was so excited to go on, and I just wanted to finish it.
Yeah.
No matter where I would rent it, it would fuck up on one of these quests as I started playing the game. Every fucking time. And I've still like, I should probably go back and play that
You
one day
haven't
and
gone
try to
back?
make sense of it. I have
Oh,
not.
man. We got to put it on the
So
eventually
we got to do
list.
Saga Frontier.
Yeah.
But Bushido Blade I also rented. It didn't actually fuck up, or maybe I didn't play it long enough for it to fuck up, because I beat it in like 15, 20 minutes and was wholly unsatisfied with my experience.
Why? What was up?
I didn't, despite all these magazines not telling me how great it was,
Yeah.
my mom's not going to buy me a gaming magazine. Like, that was like a super rarity. I could pick up a magazine at a store and she would buy it for me. And most of the time, I couldn't sit there and read it because she's like, no, we have to go. We have to hurry, blah, blah. So I hadn't actually read anything about Bushido Blade. I'm expecting like Street Fighter with swords or something like that. And it is not. I think it's an amazing premise for a game.
It's a really cool idea.
It's such a good idea.
It's a really cool idea because it's different than Samurai Showdown, which pretty much is Street Fighter with swords.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, not really, but it is kind of more so than this because Samurai Showdown's a 2D game, a 2D fighter, and this is a 3D fighter, which I think is where things start to break down because I've never been a fan of 3D fighters.
Yeah.
But I will say that of all of them that I've played, Bushido Blade's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
And I just recently played Bushido Blade. I didn't have a history with this game at all, other than having heard of it. And I only heard of it, I think, because I knew you. I knew you had mentioned it. Man, those 3D fighters they're just not for me because all of them seem, me being like a dude who really likes Capcom fighters, who really likes Street Fighter, that whole series, Marvel vs. Capcom. Those games are fast. Like even the slow characters in a Capcom fighter is pretty fast in comparison to the fastest character in a 3D fighter. And I guess it's just because they figured they need to slow it down so that you can process an extra dimension. Like I get that. That makes sense. Like you need a little time. But it always throws me off because it just feels like a crawl. And that's what Bushido Blade felt like to me. It felt like a crawl because of the BDS, the body damage system. Because in this game, it is, I mean, you can get hit in one, I mean, you can die in one hit.
You take one hit and you die. And that's what I did. I remember I cranked up the difficulty, and it was just a matter of like, I'm eventually just going to win just pressing the same attack button over and over again.
Yeah, I think that is a complaint of mine about this game is that there's no penalty. Like there's no penalty for losing.
Yeah. You don't like have so many, credits or anything like that and you start over. You just keep going.
You just keep going until you win. So it's kind of one of those scenarios where it's like, well, you said it earlier when we were playing. You can brute force your way through this game. You really can. You can just be like, I'll hit triangle until I win.
Yep. Easily done.
If it doesn't work in this round, I'll die. I'll try it again. And if it doesn't work that round, I'll die. I'll try it again.
Because I don't know, the idea of completely in theory, a realistic fighting game with weapons that's all about like blocking and things like that. So if you hit if you get a straight hit on a leg that they can't move as quickly, or an arm, or that you can disarm them or break their weapon, or you get a headshot and they're dead. That you can, because Bushido Blade, each character has access to tons of different weapons.
Yep.
So if you, whatever your style is, to use like a big ass pole arm or the rapier or a sledgehammer, however you want to do it. And then each characters have different styles, and you can switch stances and how, like, if you have the weapon far away from you or if you use it defensively. Like on paper, Bushido Blade is great. And then of course the screen is kind of minimalistic. You don't have there's no like overbearing music. You usually just have like a stream or just background noise. There's no health bar. There's no ring out. There's nothing. It's just you and your opponent.
So it's all these cool things, because everything that you've said is really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Really, that's a great idea. I love that idea. And I'm not going to lie, I liked this game. And I would go back and play it again for sure, but it was frustrating. It was frustrating because I wanted it to be better. And I know that's a really, really shitty thing to say about a game where it's like, oh, I liked it, but man, I just wanted it to be so much better. But the idea of this game is so much better than the game itself. It really is. And I think as I was playing it, I was thinking, I want this to be a thing now. I want somebody to take this idea now and make a game from it. When I feel like it's got to be really, you can really make a better game now.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Because this was like,
man,
like I said, 3 years after the PlayStation came out, like all the
3D PlayStation games, man, God, you can't go back. You can't go back and be
ugly.
Totally satisfied.
Ugly games.
But I mean, games of this era that didn't like try to push the 3D, like say Tactics, still beautiful. I don't know, but you go back to Final Fantasy VII, beautiful background, but Cloud looks like a fucking anathema on top of this like beautiful painted and then blocky square handless man with like painted on dead eyes, just moving through this beautiful background.
It's a weird disconnect, and that bleeds in to Bushido Blade. Because there are some characters, like the art style reminds me of Final Fantasy VII a little bit. It's more realistic, but you still have like these faces that look like they're painted on, just a head shape.
So I have 3 triangles for a nose,
right?
And
and it might just be when I was born.
The animated cutscenes that are like jarring, because like. And it's not like, if it was like animation of the time, like Japanese animation of the time, I would have been fine with that. But it goes to this weird rendered like cutscenes that just like, it looked bad even then.
You fight 5 opponents or 4 opponents, and then there's a cutscene where you run through 3 stages and then jump in a hole in the ground.
Oh man,
do you know why it does that?
I assume just the programming limitation. It looks, whenever I was going to Murray State for computer science, we had Carnegie Mellon had a program called Alice that they released for free for people to work with, working in 3D. And this looks like it was made in that free 3D Alice software, because it just points on the map and then type your code and run it, and they perform the maneuvers as they walk and run. It looks just fucking like that.
It doesn't look natural at all. Because it's like one of those where it's like they run in a straight line and then make a 90-degree turn to like jump down a hole.
Yeah.
But this game is interesting because you don't have to really fight those first battles. Like those first 4 battles, the stages are all connected to one another. So when you jump down that hole, when you see that cutscene, like that's a fucking stage that you can fight in. So like there's a run button in this game. Like you hold down one of the bumpers and your character can run. If you run away from the opponent, you can zone essentially like you would in an MMO. Like you hit the end of the stage and another stage loads. And it is a really cool idea. But like once again, it feels like it's a great idea, but it is implemented so poorly because the first time I did it, I thought I broke the game because I thought I did something wrong because I got to the edge of the stage. The game kind of stops. Both the characters are motionless. And then 2 seconds go by while it loads the next stage, and then you're right back in the action. So it's really jarring. But yeah, you can actually navigate to that manhole and jump in it and skip a whole bunch of fights.
Because otherwise, like in combat, you can't actually jump, right?
There are, I found a special move for Red Shadow. I think that you can jump, but not like in the style that you're used to in a 2D fighter. There's no pressing up and the character leaps into the air. Because like Red Shadow's special move is, well, I don't even know if it's a special, but she jumps up into the air and comes down with her weapon. Similarly to the Kabuki warrior that you fight.
Oh, man.
Jiraiya.
Because this, all right, because the game, I remember at first I picked the character I remembered and picked the Naginata, which is a pole arm with a big blade on the end.
Yeah.
Essentially what Josh bought. He bought a much shittier looking version.
It's Josh's spear.
It's a Naginata made by orcs is what he bought. And
after they scrog, they all go out and stab each other with Naginatas.
I played through, and I got to like the fourth boss or whatever before I just got frustrated with this and picked, it's like, what's the lightest weapon? I picked the rapier, which is like half a pound or something like that. You have almost zero defense with it, but it's quick enough if you just go for that head jab. If you just wait for an enemy to swing and then hit a head jab, match is over. That's it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that it doesn't have defense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because in this game where one hit can kill somebody, I felt the exact same way. Like the rapier was the way to go. Because I originally thought that the spear, go with the spear. It's got the best reach, right? I mean, reach is a big deal, and it is, but it's only a big deal if it kills the person automatically. And most of the time I felt with the spear, there are... Sometimes weapons do light damage. Not every hit is an automatic kill. And it kind of, the way the game tells you whether it's a light damage or a kill is really cool because that's the feedback you get. Like if I swing my sword and the opponent swings his sword at the same time, we're both swinging high and the blades meet, I get like a green burst of energy appears on the screen. But if it's a light hit, like an orange burst will appear. And if it's a kill shot, it's just Kill Bill style, a stream of
red
pixels. Yes.
Oh man, all those red squares. Got that fucking good. Oh man. But also, like I had no idea until I lost by it. You were like, oh yeah, that's something I figured out. You have to abide by the Bushido code.
You do.
Otherwise, you can't progress.
What'll happen is you will fight all the regular characters. There's 6 characters you can choose from. You'll fight the other 5. And then if you did not adhere to the Bushido code, you will get a black screen that appears with white letters calling you a coward. And like you said, you're not able to progress any further.
And that pissed me off because there's not really an indication or anything like that. So every character will talk for like 5 seconds before you fight them. So if you hit them while they're talking, you may as well reset the game right there because you're not going to be able to progress. Or if they fall onto the ground and you do a hit maneuver to hit on the ground, you'll hit them and kill them, but that may as well reset right there as well. So.
You can't mutilate the bodies. I mean, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
All the fun stuff is if you hit an enemy from behind, you violate the code. If you hit an enemy while they're climbing, you violate the code. So I like that aspect because it makes the game more challenging. But what I don't like about it is there's no indication.
Yeah.
Just like you said, there's no indication of like what is following the code and what is not following the code other than like these just general rules.
Or if it changed the ending, whether or not you fought honorably, something like that, as opposed to like, nope. Sorry. Try again.
It's weird too because it's this disconnect between single player and versus mode because you can do whatever the fuck you want to in versus mode because the game's not going to stop. So it's odd because the first player experience or the one player experience is really, really rigid.
Well, you said supposedly the sledgehammer can sunder other people's weapons.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
I do not know if that is true because
You can also get General Leo in your party in Final Fantasy VI.
But I mean, it sounds believable that the sledgehammer could do that, right? Because if you hit somebody's arm, their arm stops working. If you hit somebody's leg, their leg stops working. Like to a really weird point where it's like, I swear to you, I had a battle. This is no lie. I had a battle where me and the opponent are rolling around on the ground, trying to hit each other like with our swords while all we can do is roll around like a baby. Like we're not even kneeling. We're flopping around on the ground until like one of us happened to like rake his sword over the other person.
I remember that reminds me of playing Tekken 3 and the unlockable character Dr. Boskanovich. And Dr. Boskanovich lays on the ground. That's what you exclusively like. Some of his maneuvers, like he might set up and do something, but it's just him rolling around on the ground trying to do these combos and shit. That it was. Oh, I remember the first time like I finally unlocked him. I was like, yeah, another. What the fuck? But I don't know. I guess it's a thing. It's a thing people do.
Tekken Tag was a big one that I played.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
did Tekken games get more 2D as they went, or did they pretty much stay the same? Do you know?
I don't know. I feel like I played one of the Brandon and I played one of the Tekkens a little bit. That's the one where we stayed up all night trying to get Nina and her sister's endings for the shower cutscene where they're in the shower and they drop the towel. Oh yeah, but I don't really remember. The last Tekken I played at Game Galaxy, like Tekken 6 or whatever, it was fully 3D.
Yeah,
and it was good. I enjoyed what I played of it, but
I'm kind of surprised. I guess just because I have such a distaste for 3D fighters generally. I don't know.
I enjoyed Street Fighter EX plus Alpha, the 3D PlayStation fighter.
Yeah.
I don't remember how it makes sense in the whole weird Street Fighter canon, but I remember I randomly picked that up one day and really, really enjoyed it. Ended up buying it, but.
Did you have the same experience with Virtua Fighter as I did? Because when I was a kid, man, Virtua Fighter was like, and this might be why I've got such a mistaste. Like I've just got this bad taste in my mouth for 3D fighters. Because I remember going to the arcade. I loved playing games like Mortal Kombat 2, and by playing those games, I mean getting beaten by 20-somethings in the arcade. I remember seeing Virtua Fighter and being like, oh my God, this looks amazing.
Yeah, because it was Virtua Fighter 2, I think, was in our local Gaddyland.
Yeah.
So after school, everybody go to Gaddyland and eat pizza and then fucking go play Virtua Fighter. And I remember it was a big deal for a while.
I remember playing Virtua Fighter for this first time, and I was like, oh man, this game looks so good. I couldn't play it. I did not know what the fuck was going on. I just knew that.
I'm going to back up. Okay, ring out.
Yeah,
I lost 50
exactly.
cents. Okay.
And I remember thinking, man, that girl's really hot, I think.
I think she's got tits. Pretty sure. That guy looks like he does too. I know he's a guy. His shirt's off.
I mean, she looks pretty good on the art. I don't know. That's probably her.
Oh, Virtua Fighter. Man, we could do a whole miserable series over early gen 3D fighters.
You got to start somewhere. There.
Oh, man. Okay, but overall, Bushido Blade, fighting other people with blades, Bushido Code, different characters have all these motives, all kind of lines up until you fight the guy with a gun.
Yeah, the first boss.
That's just like, what the fuck is going on here? Because it's just like, I remember I'm sitting there, you're watching me, and it's like he's talking, and as soon as he's done talking, just shoots me, and I'm dead.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't get to fucking move anything. I did this like, I bet I fought him 7 or 8 times where it's just like, well, do I need to back up some? Because I can't hit him before he's done talking.
Right.
Otherwise, I can't progress. So, and then just like, all right. And he's done talking, and I'm dead.
Yeah.
It's just bam, bam. I've got it. You brought a sword to a gunfight, you stupid motherfucker. Bam.
I feel like he broke Bushido by bringing the gun. I feel like you kind of get some leeway there, right? But it also, I guess, explains why the Bushido code died out in the late 1800s because they're like, oh yeah, fuck guns. I guess we need those.
So well, I guess we're all doing it. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
okay.
And then that if you do manage to get up quick enough to try to hit him, a lot of times he'll just block your sword with his gun.
Yeah.
Just he's a master of parrying and blocking with this revolver that he has.
Doesn't matter what weapon you have. Doesn't matter. You can have the giant spear, and he's just
he is like a derringer, and it's just like nope. Sorry, this fucking gun is awesome, isn't it? Dead.
I found out something interesting about him. You don't have to kill him. You can as long as you hit him with a low attack and he falls over, you win. I don't know why.
He's just like a turtle.
Yeah.
You put him on his back and he's like, nope, okay.
Just like the only fight in the game like that. It is ridiculous. I don't know why. I guess it's 'cause you interrogate him afterwards and he tells your character who ordered the kill on your dojo. We haven't really talked about the story.
I don't even know what the story is.
There is one.
No clue.
I know that there is one.
I just know people are sad and want revenge. And that's pretty much every character.
Never have I played a game where there's so much murder and like immediately after, like just this regret. Which I guess I guess they're going for the realism, right?
Yeah.
But I mean,
except for the gun blocking guy. Otherwise, they're all about realism here at Bushido Blade.
But it's really weird because it's like a character will say something after they just murdered this person. I really didn't want to kill that person. Why did you do it?
Well, time for my next fight.
Yeah, exactly. But there's a dojo. Let me explain the story as I know it. There is a dojo, and it is secretly a school for assassins.
Okay.
No one is allowed to leave the dojo. Okay, now this is all stuff that I know. This is explained to you in the game. And then everything else about the story I've just kind of inferred from character dialogue and just, I guess, head fiction.
This almost sounds like a Danganronpa situation where everybody comes to the assassin school to be assassins. Nobody gets to leave.
So what happens is somebody, I guess, starts killing the people in the dojo.
They're killing the assassins.
Yeah.
They're assassinating the assassins.
Yes,
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Who would assassinate these assassins? That's just wrong. Oh man.
So there's some people love other people and don't want to fight them, but do anyway. And then the guy with the gun tells you who took the hit out. Spoilers, it's the head of the dojo.
Oh,
I bet you didn't see that coming.
Oh.
You don't know anything about. Like, that would be a big reveal if you even knew who he was.
Yeah. God, it's like that. What's that movie Angelina Jolie was in that about made John Turley have a stroke?
Hackers.
Well, it's that like where it's like a league of assassins and Angelina Jolie tries to teach the main character how to curve a bullet. So like when you fire the gun,
Yeah,
if you move your arm like a baseball, the bullet will curve around like a curveball. So she's like firing around like pillars and shit to hit people and kill them.
Yeah.
Because spoilers for that movie, same premise, same things going on.
So there is a story. I feel like they're trying. They're trying, but man, it's weird. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. At one point, I think a character says another character's name at the wrong point because I think it's Red Shadow. We haven't really talked about the characters, but Red Shadow says something about Utsumi.
Yeah, Utsumi.
Utsumi. She says something about, Utsumi is going to fight Utsumi. And it was like, what just happened? Did I misread that? There's like a screen transition. It's like, surely I misread that. And then I played it again and I was like, no, I'm pretty sure she's saying that he's going to fight himself. I guess inner conflict. I don't.
And God, the fight against him was frustrating. He was the only guy who was like, pick up dirt and throws it in your face and shit like that.
It depends on who the last fighter is before Gun Guy.
Okay.
Because I had the same thing with another character. I can't remember who it was. It's the second dude in the lineup. I can't remember his name. It's the one who wears a blue suit in the versus mode, and in the regular mode, he's wearing like a blitzball costume. It's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, he started throwing dirt on me and all this, which also don't do that because that also violates the Bushido code.
Don't get anybody dirty.
Yeah.
Unless it's with blood. But if it's actual dirt,
No,
don't fucking do that.
Don't do it. Who's your favorite character?
Red Cloud. That's what I beat the Red Cloud. Red Shadow.
Yes.
That's what I beat the game with. So
I liked okay, the character that I was the best with was also the character that I hated the most. Because he is blonde Japanese Zoro.
yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Like, take Zoro's costume, take it off of Zoro, put it on a Japanese man, give him Jack Sparrow facial hair, and dye him blonde. And that's this character who is named Black Lotus, which is a magic card. Like, everything about this character is just like, oh my God, this is a little over the top, don't you think? But he was the character.
There's this guy in a gi. They call him Ninja Man. I get a hated Ninja Man.
He was the best character for me. He's the one that I beat the game with first, and you put a rapier in his hand. I mean, clearly some of these characters were meant for certain weapons. You see a dude who looks kind of like Zoro, and it's like, I wonder if I should give him the rapier. I probably should.
Yeah.
I probably should.
Let's give him the broadsword.
Yeah.
All the weapons that you don't ever need to use. Okay.
The character design in this game, I felt like was pretty unoriginal. I already mentioned blonde Japanese Zoro. Mm-hmm. There was also Scarlet Witch. I think her name is Matsudo. I may be wrong, but she essentially is wearing the Scarlet Witch's headgear. It's just she's just purple instead of scarlet. There is Utsusemi, who is Gambit.
You're right, 100. Now that you say that, you're 100% right.
Gambit, except that they took all of like the red parts on his costume because they're not pink. They're not magenta. The red parts on his costume and just made him green.
Yeah, you're so right.
He's got
has, like,
the trench coat. I mean,
yeah.
It is just like it was astounding when I played this game because it was like, how did they not get fucking sued? Like, this is ridiculous. There's two Marvel characters that are just blatantly ripping off. You got motherfucking Zect and the Blitzballers over here.
Oh, man. Because then even like Red Shadow just looks like your stereotypical, just a ninja.
She looked like a Shinra train operator to me. Because it's that same color red, and I could just see her like pinching her nose and shaking her head while overhearing Barrett say something about blowing up a reactor.
Fuck. But overall, I mean, this game was interesting to go back to, but man, it just doesn't hold up. I don't feel like it really offers anything to modern gamers other than, I wish they could do this better now. So
I liked it.
Yeah.
As much shit as I give it, I like it. I would play this game more.
Mm-hmm. And check out the second one and that other game.
Maybe not.
Because I've heard like whatever people thought was magical about Bushido Blade was never like captured again in any like sequel or anything that ever happened.
It's a really cool premise, and I feel like, okay, this is one thing I really liked about the game, is I felt like I was learning it because the more I played it, and I guess because it's so easy to continue, the plus side of that is you can learn rapidly. And so I started learning, like, I could really start learning the rapier, for example. And every weapon has 3 styles. There's like a high, a mid, and a low. Mm-hmm. And depending on the style, it will have different attacks. It's kind of like if you hit the high attack, depending on your stance, it's either going to be a jab or a lash or a slice. And that meaning like it's either going to go horizontally, vertically, or straight forward. And depending on your stance, it'll do it in different zones of the body. So like, for instance, the rapier was really cool because you know how when we were playing and it was all just like headshot, stab, if you change your stance, you can change the stab to go for the torso, or you can change the stab to go for the knees.
Yeah.
So that's really cool because the torso is a lot easier to hit. And it got to the point where I would be fighting an enemy and I'd see him change his stance to like an upper stance. So I figured it'd be more difficult to hit his head. He'd be more likely to block. So I'd switch it to a lower stance and then stab, and I'd have better results. So like that was really rewarding to me. Like learning this stuff and like feeling like I am learning a completely useless skill, but still learning a skill like that was fun for me.
Or a gun guy can just shoot you. So,
Or the gun guy can just shoot you.
Too bad you can't be gun guy. That'd be some good versus matches.
But I will say that the game is not intuitive at all. Like it is not intuitive at all. And this is a completely unfair comparison because the games came out, so far apart. But Nidhogg is a independently produced and developed fencing game. It is not a 3D fighter. It's all 2-dimensional, and it's done almost in like Atari style graphics.
Yeah.
But it's built upon a similar principle, and that is there's 3 different kinds of attacks. There's a high attack, there's a mid attack, and there's a low attack. And if you and the opponent are fighting each other and you both hit the high attack at the same time, your swords clash and no damage is dealt. So
you could have those where your weapons clash against each other and you have to press the buttons to force their back in Bushido Blade.
Yes.
Which I thought, like, when that happened, I was like, I don't watch what button does, or I'm just going to press all of them until, okay, nothing happened. All right.
Well, what sucks about that is those power struggles are really cool, right? Because they're like cinematic. But what sucks is like if you lose it, you're pushed backwards on the ground and the enemy just walks over and fucking stabs you. If you win it and send them flying and they hit the ground, you got to fucking obey that Bushido code.
Yeah.
So it's just like there was no point to this. I'll just wait for you to get back up.
Yeah.
And they always seem like there's this move that you can do when you're knocked over. I swear it's like being knocked over is a benefit because you can just like hit high attack and you like fucking cannonball up and leap at them with your weapon. And it's like... It got to the point where I just stopped knocking people over because it was just like every time I did, they would just leap up and kill me. So forget it. But I liked it for some reason.
The last 2 weeks, like same for Chippendale. It's like we're talking a lot of weird shit about this game, but you should play it.
I honestly do think that if you're interested in like samurai movies, if you're interested in swords at all. And if you're interested in the fighting genre, at least try this game.
Or following Bushido.
Yes, or following Bushido, exactly. If you like to be given a strict code to follow when you play a fighting game, like I do, then definitely check it out.
Try playing Street Fighter 2 Turbo using the Bushido rules. It changes the experience for you completely.
And you
won't like it at all.
I am speaking like the listener knows less about this game than we do, which is impossible. I feel like everybody listening to our show knows more about the games than we do when we talk about it.
Do you have any achievements?
I have a couple achievements.
Okay.
I have a couple. The first achievement that I have is called Open Up Your Fruit Cage.
All right.
And in order to Open Up Your Fruit Cage, what you need to do is defeat Utsusimi as Red Wind with the sledgehammer. It's a Peter Gabriel.
I was about to say, like, I'm looking at like the Windows like search icons going through my brain. Like, I don't understand.
I saw that. It's a Sledgehammer's a Peter Gabriel song. If Brendan of Axel FA was listening, he really liked that achievement. Everybody else who was born after me probably didn't get that joke. You want me to read all of mine?
I guess we can trade off.
Okay.
My next one, well, the one I had was Rapier, I hardly know her. And you unlock that by you win a match with the Rapier going completely untouched.
Okay. My second achievement, we didn't talk about this character. I think the strongest character in the game, but also the slowest. There's a sliding scale. The stronger you are, the slower you are. The strongest is a man named Kanuki. So
for some reason, my mind filled in the gap of Carl.
Carl.
There's the strong man, Carl. Okay.
He just pulls up in his Buick.
His Buick LeSabre.
Exactly.
He gets out to shoot you, and then he gets back in and he drives off.
Not to be confused with Gun Guy. He's not Gun Guy.
No. Carl's got style about him. It's different.
Or maybe it's Carl Winslow. I like this.
The Bushido Blade DLC where you can play as Carl Winslow in horrible 3D pixelated fat guy graphics.
So the second achievement I have is Kanuki Suit. And in order to unlock Kanuki Suit, you need to play both the 1-player and the 2-player versions of this game as Kanuki. Because they all wear different costumes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, depending on what mode you're playing. I wish that you could just pick what costume you wear, but you can't.
Yeah, that would be nice. It's weird that the modes are different.
Very weird.
Like very different costumes. My second one is Neonatologist, and you unlock that by dodging a bullet.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of different words with neo in it.
Yeah.
That was the only thing coming to mind. So, neonatologist. Nothing with babies whatsoever. It just has neo in it.
My last achievement, Tyler, you will get this one, is Utsusemi ni.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 11.
And in order to unlock Utsusemi ni, you need to beat story mode with Utsusemi twice.
I can appreciate that. My last one is Mythbusters Busted It. And you unlock that by sundering a sword with the sledgehammer. So where they did a big weapon about using weapons to sunder other weapons in combat. And they use it with like the max of like human strength can do.
Yes,
and it just
I saw this episode.
Bends the sword
Yes.
a little bit. Then they crank it way up, and it's still like there's no like sword shattering or breaking it or anything by any means.
Yeah.
So
It's really sad. It made me really sad when they busted that myth, because it was like, oh man.
womp womp.
I just came up with an achievement. Help me with it.
Okay.
In order to unlock, okay. What happens is Maggie Simpson shows up and shoots Gun Guy. Mr. Burns is trying to block out the sun, by the way.
I was about to say it's like burning suit. That's what you.
I mean, if we're gonna have Carl in this game, if we're just gonna, let's make a shooter.
Let's make a 10-year-old Simpsons reference to go along with our 15-year-old sitcom reference.
Do you remember that though? Do you remember that whole like they end the season on who killed Mr. Burns?
Oh yeah.
There was a contest.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember it being a big deal.
Yes, it was a huge deal. Who did you think it was?
I thought it was Smithers.
I for some reason thought that it was Lisa, and I don't even remember why. Like I don't even remember if there was any indication that it could have been her. But I felt like it would make sense to me. Like that would have made my soul peaceful. Yeah.
It's like, or the plethora of like, man, I bet it was Bleeding Gums Murphy comes back from the dead and shoots him. That's the thing about playing Simpsons Tapped Out, because like, God, there are so many characters like that you'd like to unlock and play with, but the majority of all of them require real money to actually acquire.
Like there's no other option.
Like they cost, because the currency you buy with real money is donuts.
Well, of course it is.
And so characters cost like so many donuts. You get one donut every time you level up, and like there are characters that cost like 200 and 300 donuts.
Jesus.
So
are donuts in Simpsons Tapped Out more or less expensive than real donuts?
they are. That's a good question. I would wager that these virtual, non-existent pretend donuts are more expensive than actual
Good.
donuts.
I was hoping that was the case. I just wanted to be angry about something.
Overall, I think it's a good toilet game. So there you go.
All right. Tyler.
Yes, Dave.
I had fun.
Good.
I had fun today recording this. I'm glad that we actually got to play one round of Bushido Blade against each other.
It's the first time we played. The first time we played a game together in a while.
We got one round in, and then Henry woke up. And then I brought him in and watched you play through as Red Shadow. So that was fun. But if you were to give you if you were to give you, Tyler, just erase your beard. Just erase your beard.
Okay.
If you were to give yourself another beard, what kind of beard would it be?
That resembles Bushido Blade, or if I could just
No,
pick any beard.
This is fun time.
Reach to the astral beard plane.
This is fun
pull
time.
out a beard of
Yeah,
my choosing.
Exactly. Don't pretend like you haven't thought about it.
Oh,
what kind of
man.
beard? What kind of beard would you give you?
Oh, see, I'm pretty happy with my current beard. I enjoy having a bushy red beard.
Pretty cocky.
Yeah,
You're sounding pretty.
I'm
You're
pretty
sounding
cocky.
pretty
I'm pretty
right
cocky
now.
about this beard. I think I have a good beard. I like my Van Gogh, my Vincent Van Gogh red beard. I'm rocking.
If you were to give Bushido Blade a beard, Tyler, what kind of beard would you give it?
I would give it a beard that they, like a Saturday Night Live Velcro beard that they put on, and
Yeah.
then for some reason it gets pulled off halfway through the sketch, and everybody laughs, everybody breaks, because it feels like if somebody had a beard in Bushido Blade, you could probably like knock it off them or something like that.
Hobble beard.
So Velcro SNL beard.
Okay, awesome. If you were to give this game, I don't know, a pair of glasses, maybe. What kind of glasses would you give it?
Well, like in Bushido Blade, if you take damage at the end of the match when you're moving between matches, you'll have a bandage somewhere on your body illustrating that you've been hurt.
Yeah, I forgot to even mention that. I'm glad you did.
So both characters that I played as both had eye bandages. So I'd have to give this an eye bandage that has an eye drawn onto the bandage, so it'll trick your opponent into not knowing you're injured and you've got two eyes.
Awesome. I've got another question for you, Tyler.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, how much is this game on Amazon?
A PlayStation game. How much is this PlayStation game going to be? Bushido Blade was a big deal back in the day.
Used, keep in mind.
Used copy of Bushido Blade, play scratch to all hell.
Yes, likely.
That black back of that CD you turn over and shine into the light, and it just looks like a spirograph has been taken to it. It's just, I'm gonna say $7.99.
$7.99.
$7.99.
Oh, okay. Well, shit.
$799 for a used Bushido Blade.
You were close. The actual retail value of Bushido Blade used for the PlayStation 1 on Amazon at the time of this recording is $17.75.
All right.
Which
Well, I win.
you definitely win. You do. You didn't go over. So congratulations. I learned something, and that is don't buy used video games on Amazon unless they're like really current. You know, if they're
Yeah.
like current gen, because I've been looking at games online for a particular system that we may or may not be doing a list for in the future. Amazon has like by far the highest prices.
Ugh.
They have higher prices than half.com, and they have way higher prices than eBay, and extremely high prices compared to like a garage sale.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they are still lower than our local game store that sells retro games.
Yeah, God, that fucking place. It just has to be like, they don't want to sell them. They just don't. They just want you to come into their museum and then buy one of their current gen games. Just look at all the cool stuff that they have. Look at all the stuff I've collected from garage sales that you can't have. Here, buy a copy of Call of Duty. Thank you. I had something else to say, and I totally forgot what it was. Oh, well. Maybe anything to add? Anything of Bushido Blade-esque?
I will say that it has been a constant struggle this episode to not say Bushido Blade.
Bushido.
I really
Bushido Blade.
God, it's just like an exercise in tongue fortitude. I mean, it's just like I just want every time I open my stupid fucking mouth, I want to say Bushido Blade. Like it just degrades every time. So it's like every time I say it, it's harder than the time before. Yeah.
One thing I noticed, something I haven't felt in a while, is that when you turning on an original PlayStation and getting that white screen with like the orange logo and the sound,
Yeah.
man, it's been such a long time since I've had that. Because I mean, I will still occasionally use my PS2 for anything. Like I still have like the Mega Man collection, the Mega Man X collection, everything I have down there. There'd be a reason for me to turn on the PS2. I never turn on my PS1 anymore. That just sits there.
I don't know if mine works anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've still got it, but I haven't fucking turned it on in a very long
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Very long
exactly.
time. I can't even remember. Honestly, I cannot tell you. Actually, the last time might have been playing Final Fantasy IX at Apex Internet when I worked there, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was 2001.
That's back when dial-up was a thing.
Oh man. Thanks for listening, everybody. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. So don't miss an episode. Next week we're going to be talking about, so on the docket,
What is happening?
probably, I don't know. I don't even have any hooch. Oh, this Fresca.
Say Bushido.
Bushido.
It'll make you feel better. Now,
Bushido.
that's all out. That's all out now.
Okay.
Now you can talk normal.
So don't miss an episode. Next week we'll be talking about Shovel Knight. Probably. More than likely, Shovel Knight.
It's a 3D fighter with shovels.
It is a game we made up because we're such big fans of the movie Mystery Men and the character the shoveler. We both have taken, I think, William H. Macy. So it's basically just a William H. Macy with a shovel sim. It's great. You dig ditches.
I'd play that. I'd play that. Only for the Fargo references that they drop in.
You know what really helps us out? Still, iTunes, still by far the biggest marketplace for podcasts. What really helps us out is 5-star written iTunes reviews. If you want to support the show, come out and give us one of those. Tell people how much you enjoy it. It gets us listed higher. It gives us more presence on iTunes. More people will see it. More people will listen. And since it helps us out, we try to further incentivize you to do that by, if there's a game you want us to play or a host you want for a certain episode. If you make a 5-star written review, put that in that review.
Yes.
Whatever you put in that,
Yeah.
we promise we will get to that eventually.
Don't worry, guys. Like Tyler said, we're going to be back. In the meantime, if you can't get enough TADPOG goodness, you can always find us on tadpog.com. That's where the show notes live. Tyler promised that he will have the full-length movie of Bushido Blade on there.
Yep.
So go there now and look for it before it's taken off the internet. You can also find us on Facebook. We are at facebook.com/tadpog. There's a lot of cool people there doing a lot of cool shit. That is the best place to post a comment, particularly if you have something to say about a specific episode. Do it there, and we will surely see it. You can also find us on Twitter. We are at tadpog_podcast. It's cumbersome, I realize. Thank you for everybody who is retweeting us and tweeting at us and including us in tweets. It's great. I love waking up and seeing that we have new followers. That makes me feel special. Makes me feel like we're not just throwing our voices into the ever-growing void. So that's always good.
The ever-growing entropy that is humanity. The eventual heat death in the universe that will claim all of us.
Exactly. You can...
Here at Nihilism Cast.
I would totally do Nihilism Cast. And then to be followed by Defeatism Cast. What else do we do? Where else are we, Tyler? You mentioned SoundCloud. If you really feel like we're knocking it out of the park, you can go to Patreon if you want. We do have a Patreon going. You can pledge however much you want. Anything is great. We really appreciate the people who have shown us that they appreciate the show by donating. Thank you very much. We've had a new pledge from Peter Panda.
From Peter Panda.
That's, I believe, Cartman's stuffed animal. So thank you.
I need to think of a title for Peter Panda.
Well, it could be tied in with his stipulation, that being that we never mention. I don't even know if I can mention it. He may
So we can mention it, and then he immediately revokes his Patreon.
Exactly. We can't talk about a certain game that Tyler likes to play sometimes on his phone. It's not Simpsons Tapped Out.
It's the other one.
Yeah.
Wink. Not Quiz Up.
Yeah.
Not
Quiz Up.
Trivia Crack. Wink, wink.
It's the sex tape video game. It's the video game that features a sex tape
It's
star.
the video game that fucked Ray J to get famous.
I wish that was every video
It's the
game.
video game that used to clean Paris Hilton's closet for money.
That one.
Oh, man. So I will think of a good title for Peter Panda.
Keeping
In
up
the
with Peter
meantime.
Panda.
Keeping up with Peter Panda. I want to make it a P word, like
Yeah.
parsimonious Peter Panda or
We'll come up. Proctor.
Proctor Peter Panda, because
Peter Panda. Yes.
he's telling us what we can
Exactly.
and can't do. So Proctor Peter Panda, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect Proctor
Oh
Peter
my
Panda.
God, the quadruple P's.
There we go, done. The perfect Proctor Peter Panda.
If he ever predicts the future, we can call him Prophet.
Fuck. Or if he ever helps us make more profit, he can be the perfect Peter Panda.
Profiteer.
The perfect profiteer, perfect Peter Panda.
So thanks for your donation, man. We
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Yeah. For every dollar you gave, we gave you a P word. How do you want to close it out?
I don't know. Like,
Carl Winslow?
yes, I think we should close it like Carl Winslow. I also want to give our phone number, though.
Okay.
If you want to call us, you can and leave us a voicemail. If you want to call Carl Winslow, this is like Carl Winslow hotline. This is your opportunity to speak to Carl Winslow. Call 270-883-2555. Also,
If you could cosplay, so I'm like, say you're Laura or you're Steve Urkel, call us in your best impression. Like they're having to call and talk to Carl.
man, there's got to be like some level of cosplayer who's like, man, I'm just gonna cosplay like the fattest characters because I do not want to work out, or like that would be me. Like that's my level of cosplay where it's like,
Mom is for my costumes.
yeah,
Back off. Give me some Hot Pockets.
I'm gonna be Dan from Roseanne, so I need to eat 4 meatball subs a day.
Oh, man. So that's all right. We're going to have to do for Dragon Con. We're going to go as the Connors.
Oh, that would be great.
Josh has to get a bowl cut. It's going to be great.
I just want to know who Darlene is.
Oh, who would be a good Darlene? I know, because Nicole's clearly Becky.
Yeah, Nicole's Becky.
Yeah.
For sure.
We'll have to get 2 Beckys. Probably.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
That's the safe thing to do, is to get 2 Beckys.
Well, Sarah Chalk. We'll get Sarah Chalk to
We'll actually
yeah.
get Sarah Chalk. But she's going to play the other Becky. It's a whole fucked up thing.
And also our intro song, Tyler.
Oh, yeah, that's Moves by Sycamore Drive. And a link to that track can be found in the show notes at tadpog.com.
All right, now we're gonna close it.
Okay.
As Carl Winslow.
As Carl Winslow.
Okay.
So until next time, Tropical Capricorn!
Yeah, he's always angry, right? Like that's like I guess he's not. Yes. Because that show is Steve Urkel.
Yeah. Sorry to say,
Yeah.
Key and Peele, that skit fucking nailed it.
Everything about that show revolves around him. So of course, when I think of Carl, I think of him being angry because he's angry at Steve. But he's not always angry.
He's supposed to be
not
the
always angry.
supportive good dad
Yeah.
to Laura and poor man's
The other
Cosby
ones.
Show. Poor man's Theo Huxtable. So
Oh shit, that's awful that I can't remember that character's name. It's all about Steve. That's why.
yeah. And then Laura, because Laura and
Well,
Steve go
right,
together.
'cause Laura.
So Eddie Winslow.
Eddie. Phew, you just saved us a nasty Facebook message from Phil.